Lisa had always had a soft spot for animals. Ever since she was a child, she'd been the one to bring home lost kittens, feed stray dogs, and even nurse an injured bird back to health. So when she spotted the stray dog on the side of the road that cold autumn evening, she didn't think twice. The dog was in bad shape. His fur was matted, ribs visible through his thin coat, and a deep scar ran along his side. But what struck Lisa the most were his eyes, intelligent, almost human, filled with something she couldn't quite place. Fear? Pain? A warning. She slowed her car and stepped out cautiously, holding her hands up to show she wasn't a threat. Hey, buddy, you okay? The dog didn't run. He didn't growl. He just sat there, watching her, as if debating whether to trust her. Lisa's heart ached. How long had he been out here? How had he survived? After a few moments, she knelt down and extended her hand. The dog flinched, but didn't move away. Carefully, Lisa scooped him up and carried him to her car. He was lighter than she expected. Too light. "You're safe now," she whispered. She had no idea how wrong she was. When Lisa brought the dog home, she expected the usual behaviors: hesitation, nervousness, maybe even a little aggression. But what she saw over the next few days unsettled her. At first, it was subtle. He refused to go near the front door, no matter how many times she tried to coax him outside. Whenever she raised her hand too fast, just to grab something from a shelf, he flinched. And at night, he would sit by the window, staring into the darkness, ears perked as if listening for something. One night, Lisa woke up to a low growl. Her heart pounded as she sat up in bed. The dog was standing at her bedroom door, hackles raised, staring toward the living room. "Buddy," she whispered. He didn't move. Slowly, she crept toward the door, her breath shallow. She peeked into the living room. Nothing. But the dog didn't relax. His eyes remained locked on something she couldn't see. Chills ran down her spine. She told herself it was nothing. Maybe he was just adjusting to a new home. But deep down, she knew this wasn't normal. A week passed, and Lisa started to believe things were settling down. The dog, whom she'd started calling Shadow, was eating better, seemed more comfortable, and had even started wagging his tail when she came home. Then came the knock. It was late, almost midnight. Lisa had just settled onto the couch with a cup of tea when the sharp, urgent raps on her door made her freeze. Shadow was up in an instant, his body tense, his eyes wide with fear. Lisa set her cup down and moved cautiously to the door. Peeking through the peephole, she saw a tall man in a dark coat, his face partially obscured by the dim porch light. She didn't recognize him. "Can I help you?" she asked through the door. A pause. Then, in a deep voice, he said, "That's my dog." Lisa's stomach twisted. "What?" she said, gripping the doorknob tighter. "That dog," the man repeated. "He's mine. He ran away a few weeks ago. I've been looking for him." Lisa looked back at Shadow, who was trembling, his tail tucked between his legs. He wasn't wagging. He wasn't excited. He was terrified. Something was very, very wrong. Lisa's mind raced. If this was really Shadow's owner, wouldn't the dog be happy to see him? Wouldn't he at least recognize his voice? Something didn't add up. "I don't think he belongs to you," Lisa said firmly, not opening the door. The man let out a low chuckle. "You don't understand. That's my dog, and I want him back." Lisa's heart pounded. She knew she couldn't trust this man. "I think you should leave," she said. Silence. Then, in a voice that sent a shiver down her spine, the man muttered, You have no idea what you're keeping. And then he was gone. Lisa barely slept that night. The next morning, she took Shadow to the vet. She needed answers. As the vet examined him, she asked, "Did you find him on the street?" Lisa nodded. "Why?" The vet frowned, running a hand over the scar on Shadow's side. "This isn't from an accident. This was surgical. And look at this." She pulled aside some fur, revealing a faint tattoo. Numbers, like an identification code. Lisa's stomach dropped. "What does that mean?" The vet hesitated. "It means this dog was part of something. Military? Research? I don't know. But he wasn't just a pet." Lisa's mind raced back to the man at the door. You have no idea what you're keeping. What had she gotten herself into? Over the next few days, Lisa grew paranoid. Was she being followed? Shadow never left her side, tense at every sound. One evening, her phone rang. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. A distorted voice warned, "Give him back. Walk away before it's too late." The line went dead. Lisa's blood ran cold. Shadow stared at her, as if he understood. She had saved him once. Now she had to do it again.